This video will follow on from the previous one regarding the relative age effect. However, this video will focus on the implications of the effect itself. So, what actually are the implications then? Well, first of all, talent ID is biased for physically advantaged players. Therefore, the smaller players are going to have less chance of being scouted. This means mainly more quartile 1 and quartile 2 players will be picked up. The second implication is that the less physically developed players get less game time, and as a result, this will limit their development, as they're not having that competitive environment to learn and develop from. The final one is that quartile 3 and quartile 4 players don't get picked due to their birth quartile. Consequently, as mentioned, they are less physically developed and struggle to stay within the talent system compared to quartile 1 and quartile 2 players. However, in relation to being relatively young, there are actually going to be positives and negatives. And first of all, we will discuss the negatives. So, the first negative is that they are less physically developed, so they are less likely to be picked, as the bigger and stronger players are first choice picks. The second negative of being relatively young is that the players have fewer experiences to learn from. This means that they are already falling behind players, which is affecting their chances of being selected for further development programs. The final negative is that they also have less time to mature, which again affects program selection success compared to relatively older players. On the other hand, there are positives of being relatively young, and the first one is that the players may have more determination to succeed because they are facing an uphill battle from the start. The second positive is that the younger players may find new ways to succeed, which will improve their technical ability, and this could help them to become talented through the use of catalysts, as stated in Gagnet's model of giftedness. There are many solutions for the implications of the relative age effect, and the one I will discuss today is biobanding. But what actually is it? Well, biobanding is grouping based on their bodily maturity as opposed to actual age. An example would be a 16-year-old playing with under 14s due to his physical size. This takes out the physical advantage that often players have and essentially makes it a much fairer game. Even with this, we need to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of biobanding. The first advantage is that it makes the sport a lot fairer for everyone. The second one is that it reduces domination of the sport by more physically mature players, which is good for everyone and the game itself. A disadvantage, however, is that the relatively younger players may not develop other parts of their game, which is needed. The final disadvantage is that the relatively older players will not develop their skills as well as they could have done, because they no longer have the physical capabilities to dominate games. An example of a player who experienced something similar is the Arsenal player Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. This is because he was kept down a year due to his physical size. This meant that he could play with players close to his size, and guess what? It worked.